long before the sands swallowed the cities of kings, before even the pyramids cast their first shadow upon the earth, there was a pharaoh whose name the gods themselves erased. His monuments lie in ruin. His tomb has no mark, and yet his curse whispers still in the breath of the desert wind. They called him Akhemun-Ra, the eternal sun, a ruler obsessed with the one thing even gods feared to lose: memory. He believed that to be remembered was to live forever, and to be forgotten was a second death. In the temple of the hidden flame, priests sang the hymn of continuance, a prayer that every pharaoh's name be carved deep into stone and into the hearts of men. For in Egypt, a name, the Ren, was the soul's anchor to eternity. The name of Akhemun-Ra shall never fade, the priests declared. But the scribe, Tariq, saw the shadows forming behind those words. Tariq, softly, under breath. And if a name is written where the gods forbade it, what then? Akhemun-Ra was unlike any ruler before him. He believed he was not born of woman, but of the sun itself, a being between God and man. He sought to do what no pharaoh dared, to write his name not only on the earth, but in the very script of heaven. Akhemun-Ra, commanding, "I will not fade. My rune shall burn eternal in the language of light." Summon the scribe. Summon the keepers of Thoth. Priests bow deeply. One whispers nervously, "My pharaoh, there are words not meant for mortal lips." Akhemun-Ra, rising, voice like thunder, "Then let the gods strike me, if they dare." Thousands of years later, the sands stir again. Archaeologists dig carefully among ruins. A woman kneels, brushing sand from a fragment of stone. Her name tag reads, Dr. Amina Rashid. Amina, odd whisper. These inscriptions, they're unlike any I've seen. The symbols, they're burned into the stone. Assistant, could it be a curse mark, Dr. Rashid? Amina, maybe, or a warning. But whatever this was, someone wanted it buried forever. She traces her finger over a faint name, only half visible. Akhemun, the last letters seem gone. Her discovery would awaken a story older than Egypt itself. A story of a spell that could make even a god forget his own name. That night, the air grew heavy. A single star fell into the western sky, the omen of erasure. The priests whispered that the gods were restless. But Akhemun-Ra only smiled. Akhemun-Ra whispers, "If the heavens fall to darkness, let my name be the light that remains." Nefret, in softly voice, "You challenge the order, my pharaoh. Even Ra casts a shadow. Akhemun-Ra, then let that shadow bear my image." Thunder rumbles in the distance. The torches flicker. A falcon cries above. Tariq had been commanded to find a spell, one that could bind the Ren beyond death. But even the priests feared to speak its name. They called it the spell of unwriting. A ritual once used not to preserve life, but to destroy the memory of those who defied the gods. Tariq, whispering to himself, "Erase the name, to erase the soul." He unrolls an ancient papyrus, the ink black as night. Voice, whispered, ethereal, "Every word is a gate. Every name, a chain. Break the chain, and eternity unravels." Tariq drops the scroll, horrified. The flame of his lamp flickers violently. Tariq, to himself, "If he uses this, the world itself may forget him." But the pharaoh's will was law, and the hand that wrote for the king could not refuse the king's command. Thus began the writing of the spell that would one day consume the sun itself. The age of Akhemun-Ra had dawned in splendor. His empire stretched like the rays of the sun, from the shifting deserts of Nubia to the green heart of the delta. Marble temples glowed in the light of morning offerings. Priests raised censers high, the scent of frankincense and myrrh swirled into the heavens. Yet in the heart of all this glory, one man sought what no pharaoh had ever dared, to defy the gods themselves. Inside, the air trembles with the sound of ritual drums. 1,000 oil lamps cast shadows that dance upon the carved walls, each depicting scenes of kings ascending to the afterlife. At the far end of the hall, Pharaoh Akhemun-Ra sits upon a throne of obsidian, his body gilded, his face painted with the dust of crushed lapis lazuli. Behind him, golden rays of the sun god Ra spill through narrow slits, setting his crown ablaze. Before him kneels Tariq, the royal scribe, small, humble, his eyes fixed upon the marble floor. Akhemun-Ra commanding, yet strangely calm. Tariq, tell me again of the words you found beneath the house of Thoth. Tariq, trembling. My lord, they were not words, but a warning. The walls spoke of a spell, one that no mortal should utter. It was sealed by priests long dead. Even their names had been erased. Akhemun-Ra, a spell of life beyond death. Is that not so? Tariq, yes, my pharaoh, but it is forbidden. It consumes the name of any who speak it. Akhemun-Ra, leaning forward. And what is a name compared to eternity? Hundreds gather, priests, guards, servants, dancers, and acolytes. Each carries offerings of gold and grain, papyrus scrolls, and carved idols of the gods. At the head of the procession walks High Priestess Nefret, her robes shimmering like molten gold. Her eyes are lined with kohl and marked with the sigil of Thoth, the god of wisdom and words. Nefret was said to have memorized every sacred hymn in Egypt. Her voice could calm storms or call down the wrath of the heavens. She alone dared to oppose Akhemun-Ra. Nefret, soft but firm voice. My pharaoh, you summon the words of the hidden sun, those which even Ra does not speak. If you cross that threshold, your shadow will never find rest. Akhemun-Ra, rising. Then let the gods fear me. Nefret lowers her eyes. The drums stop. Silence floods the hall. Priests grind obsidian into dust. Vessels are filled with black sand from the Valley of Shadows. A golden ankh is dipped in blood from a sacrificed ibis. Hieroglyphs of protection are painted on the walls, each glowing faintly in the torchlight. The temple of the hidden sun had not seen such rites since the dawn of time. Even the hieroglyphs seemed to stir, whispering warnings beneath the brush of the scribes. In a hidden alcove, Tariq watches in terror as scrolls are unfurled, scrolls written in an ink darker than night. Tariq, to himself, whispering, no man may call the gods to serve him. No name should seek to bind eternity. But the pharaoh's will was absolute. Akhemun-Ra stands in the center, arms spread wide. His voice echoes through the halls. Akhemun-Ra, by the blood of Ra, by the eye of Horus, by the silence of the underworld, I call upon thee, Akhem-Ra, god of the hidden flame. The air thickened, as though the temple itself were breathing. Shadows bent and stretched toward him, whispering in voices not of this world. Nefret, screaming, stop, stop, stop. You want to summon the darkness that even the gods sealed away. But it was too late. From the heart of the chamber rose a blinding black fire. The statues trembled, the lamps shattered, and above it all, a voice ancient as the first sunrise, spoke from within the flames. Akhem-Ra, with deep, resonant voice, you call upon eternity, child of dust. What will you offer in return? Akhemun-Ra, kneeling. My life, my soul, my name if that is the price. Akhem-Ra, whispers, then your name shall be forgotten, not by the gods, not by men, not even by time. Smoke curls through the air. Every inscription on the walls, gone. The pharaoh's cartouche, once carved in gold, is now blank stone. Nefret kneels amid the ash. Tariq stands beside her, horrified. Tariq, in softly voice, the gods have taken his name. Nefret, no, he has given it to them. And so began the curse of Akhemun-Ra, pharaoh who would live forever, yet be remembered by none. From the night the black sun rose, Egypt began to wither. The spell that promised eternity spread like invisible fire through stone and sand alike. Every morning the priests found new cracks in the walls of the great temples. Every evening, new names vanished from the sacred rolls. Where the crowds once sang hymns to Ra, only the wind now chanted. No children laughed by the river. The pigeons had flown. Stone forgot the hands that carved it. Papyrus forgot the ink that named the gods. The curse was not of flame or flood. It was of memory. High priest whispers, the pharaoh lives, yet no one can recall his face. Even his statue bears no name. Another priest whispers, if we cannot speak him, how do we serve him? Nefret, entering quietly. By silence. That is all the gods will allow. Nefret had aged years and days. The once radiant voice of the temple was now the whisper of a tomb. Nefret, the spell has eaten the sun's shadow. Soon it will reach the Nile. When the river forgets its path, Egypt will die. Tariq, the humble scribe, had become keeper of the unholy text. He copied its symbols by instinct, though his eyes bled and his mind faltered. Tariq, talking to himself. It refuses to be written. Even the letters seek to forget themselves. Each night he dreamed of the Pharaoh's voice echoing from beneath the sands. Each morning he woke with sand in his mouth, as if the desert itself had tried to swallow his words. The curse reached the river, the living vein of Egypt. Fish floated belly up. Crops withered overnight. The people whispered that Ra no longer saw them. Villagers gather on the banks, holding torches. A woman throws bread into the river, praying. The bread sinks without trace. And the priests, desperate, turned to forbidden rites of remembrance, carving names into their own flesh so the gods might still hear them. Month by month, the empire shrank. The desert advanced like a living creature, swallowing the roads, the villages, the very memories of kings. It was as if the land itself sought to hide its shame. Nefret, pleading, "O Thoth, Lord of words, if any voice remains to you, tell us how to undo what has been spoken." A single feather drifts from the ceiling, glowing faintly. A sign or a mockery? None could tell. But Nefret rose, her eyes filled with tears that shone like gold in the torchlight. Nefret whispers, "The gods will not answer. They too have forgotten his name." At last, Tariq fled the city, carrying the fragments of the spell. He sought the one place untouched by the curse, the Valley of Silence, where no echo could live. Behind him, Thebes fell quiet forever. The stars above dimmed one by one, as if the heavens themselves were closing their eyes. Thus ended the age of Akhemun-Ra, the pharaoh whose name no tongue could form. His palaces stood empty, his monuments unmarked, his people turned to dust. And in the heart of the desert, the scribe carried a secret so heavy that even death would not claim it. There are places the wind does not speak, where the sand lies perfectly still, untouched by beast, by bird, by man. Such a place is the Valley of Silence. It was said that when the gods sealed the world, they left one valley where words go to die. No echo lives there. No prayer returns. Tariq entered it alone. 3 nights and 3 days he traveled, guided only by the stars, though even the stars seemed to grow faint, as if afraid to witness his journey. His lips cracked. His water gone. The scrolls he carried pressed against his chest like the weight of stone. Tariq, whispering, "O Thoth, scribe of the gods, if any ink of mercy remains, guide my hand." But his voice fell dead into the sand. The desert took the sound and swallowed it whole. At the heart of the valley, shadows began to move. Not the shifting of wind or moon, but something older, slower, watching. He thought he heard voices, soft as breath, circling him from afar. They spoke no words he knew, only the hum of forgotten syllables. And for the first time since the curse began, he felt not fear, but recognition. The air itself seemed to remember him. He had reached the gate of silence, the threshold between life and what endures after. It was no temple built by men, but a wound in the earth. Inside waited stillness so deep it devoured the sound of his heartbeat. He stepped forward. Here, the scribes of the dead once kept the names of kings, carved in stone for all eternity. But now, every surface lay bare. The curse had reached even this place. Tariq fell to his knees. Tariq whispers, "If nothing can be remembered, then what remains of us?" His voice trembled against the still air. He placed his hand upon one of the blank tablets, and for an instant, a single glyph flared, his own name. Then it vanished. From the silence, a presence stirred. No form, no face, only the outline of a man carved from darkness itself. Akhemun-Ra, voice like whined through stone. "You carried my spell across the sands, little scribe. You kept me alive when the world forgot." Tariq, terrified whisper, "My lord?" Akhemun-Ra, "You fear the silence, but the silence is freedom." Here, even the gods cannot reach. The shadow's voice was neither threat nor comfort, it was absence given sound. Akhemun-Ra, speak my name, and I shall live again. Refuse, and your world will fade with me. Tariq whispers, but there is no name left to speak. Akhemun-Ra whispers, then make one. The Valley of Silence demanded a price. To give name to the forgotten was to take its curse upon oneself. Tariq lifts his stylus, hesitates, then begins to carve. Tariq, murmuring, Akhemun-Ra, Akhemun-Ra. He had spoken the unspoken, and with it the curse began to stir once more. Wind erupts from the darkness. The tablets crack. The shadow dissipates into a whirlwind of sand. The Pharaoh's echo smiled through the storm. Akhemun-Ra whispers in distant, now you will remember for us both. When morning came, the valley was still again. The scribe awoke, his hands empty, his mind hollow, except for one word pulsing like a heartbeat within him. He no longer knew what it meant, only that it must never be spoken aloud. The Valley of Silence had claimed another name. In the days that followed Tariq's awakening of the name, the winds shifted. The sands that had lain still for centuries began to stir again, slow at first, like the breath of something sleeping beneath the world. And far away, where the Nile kissed the sea, fishermen swore they saw the water rise against the current, flowing backward toward the desert. Deep beneath the Valley of Silence, a single pulse of light flickered beneath the earth, black and gold, beating like a buried heart. The spell had found its voice again. The words that had been erased returned, not as ink or carving, but as light seeping through stone. Each symbol glowed for a breath, then sank into the rock, leaving behind veins of gold that pulsed faintly like blood. And from that living stone, a whisper. Akhemun-Ra with faint, echoing voice. Who calls the forgotten? Egypt wept without knowing why. The winds carried songs no one remembered singing. In the empty cities, dust rose from the floors of temples and danced like spirits around the pillars. Priest, trembling, the gods, they return? But no god answered, only the echo of a name the world had forgotten. The Nile, the river that once carried life through Egypt, now bore a strange reflection. Beneath its surface, faces formed from light and vanished again. Pharaoh's long-dead queens, priests, scribes, all shadows of what had been. It was as if the river remembered. The curse had turned upon itself. The forgotten world began to dream again. And there, where silence once ruled, the sunless king awoke. The silhouette of Akhemun-Ra forms from dust and flame, kneeling, then standing. His form half divine, half shadow. The gold in his veins glows faintly through translucent skin. He rose not in wrath, but in sorrow. His first breath was a sigh that echoed through the corridors of the underworld. Akhemun-Ra, in softly voice. My kingdom, where is its song? As he steps forward, sand flows upward, forming faint outlines of his palace, ghostly columns shimmering around him. The memory of his empire gathered around him like mist. Columns, statues, banners of gold, all woven from the light of remembrance. But the people were gone. Akhemun-Ra whispers, eternity, and yet I stand alone. In the ruined city, Nefret dreamed. She saw the black sun rise over the valley, and the pharaoh walking once more beneath it. But his crown was broken, and in his hand he held not a scepter, but his own heart, glowing faintly with golden fire. Akhemun-Ra voice within her dream. High priestess, the sun forgets, but the soul remembers. Nefret gasps awake. She looks toward the west, where a faint red glow stains the horizon. Nefret, whispering. He returns, not to rule, but to mourn. Every monument built in his name began to awaken. The statues hewn in his image turned their gaze westward, toward the valley. Even the dust along the roads lifted, forming ghostly silhouettes. Soldiers, slaves, dancers, all walking in silence. It was not resurrection. It was remembrance given shape. The pharaoh looked upon the mirage of his empire and wept golden tears that burned the sand where they fell. For each tear, a name returned, just for a moment, then vanished again. Akhemun-Ra whispers, I sought eternity and found emptiness. I called my name beyond death, and silence the world. He turns, his shadow stretching across the dunes. The golden light flickers. The spell had bound him too tightly. He could not live. He could not die. He could only remember. Akhemun-Ra whispers, "O gods who watch from silence, unmake me." A gust of wind scatters the golden mirage. The pharaoh falls to his knees, surrounded by the ghosts of his past. Tariq returned to the place where it all began. He felt the ground trembling with the heartbeat of a god's sorrow. He saw the figure in the light, the same he had once called forth. Tariq whispers, "My lord, you have your eternity." Akhemun-Ra, smiling faintly. Eternity means nothing if none remember. He extends a hand. The scribe hesitates, then kneels. Akhemun-Ra whispers, "Write me once more not as a king but as a man." And in that moment, the light around them dimmed, soft as twilight. For the first time in centuries, the pharaoh's heart beat in peace. When the morning came, there was no sign of pharaoh or scribe, only a single symbol carved into the rock. A circle within a circle, the mark of the hidden sun. The world had forgotten his name once more. But this time, it was mercy. 1,000 years passed, and still the desert remembered. Beneath the endless sands where once pharaohs walked and gods were worshipped, the valley of silence slept, untouched, unseen, but never truly dead. They said the place was cursed, that no bird flew above it, no shadow lingered after noon, and no traveler who entered ever returned unchanged. But men, in their hunger to know, always return to the places the gods have sealed. They came with steel and science, tools of knowledge, weapons of curiosity. They came to uncover what the sand had buried. The leader of the dig was a man named Dr. Elias Karim, a seeker of forgotten dynasties. He believed history was written in layers, and that truth lay only beneath the dust. But truth, in the valley of silence, was never meant to be unearthed. Assistant calling out, "Dr. Karim, we found it, a structure buried beneath." And so the circle was broken once more. They dug for 7 days and nights. Stone gave way to corridors, corridors to chambers, until at last, they reached a sealed doorway carved with symbols that no one could read. Not even the oldest texts knew the tongue that spoke through those lines. For it was the language of remembrance itself. Dr. Karim, awed whisper, "The mark of the hidden sun." He did not know whose sun it was, nor what darkness it illuminated. The tomb knew him. It remembered every mortal hand that had ever dared to open it. When the seal broke, the air within was older than language. It breathed out over them like a sigh from another world. The workers fell silent. Their torches flickered blue. And for the first time in millennia, the valley of silence spoke. Whisper, faint, layered, thousands of voices. "Remember me." Every lamp in the shaft dims. The sound of heartbeats, slow, deep, echoing through the earth. The echo of a king without a name had been found again. But echoes, once awakened, do not die quietly. They stepped into the chamber that no light had touched in 10,000 years. And there, carved into the stone, were faces. Thousands of faces. Men, women, children. Each frozen in expressions of awe, sorrow, or fear, as though the walls themselves had swallowed the souls of those who once served the forgotten pharaoh. Assistant, whispering, "Are these statues?" They were not statues. They were memories made solid. And in the center stood the sarcophagus, black basalt streaked with veins of gold, its surface unscarred by time. Upon it, a single inscription, "He who named himself eternal." Dr. Karim, under his breath. Akhemun-Ra. He spoke the name, and the chamber exhaled. The air vibrated with tones too low for the ear, the language of the underworld awakening. And as the sound deepened, the walls began to move, not shifting, but breathing. Every carved face turned toward them. Eyes that were once stone now shimmered with molten light. Worker whispers, "We must go, close it now." But the tomb had already remembered them. He stood before the resting place of the sunless king. In the polished stone, he saw not his own reflection, but another's. The face of a man wearing a golden crown, eyes hollow with sorrow. Akhemun-Ra, voice from the reflection. "I sought to be remembered. Now all who remember shall bear my name. Kareem's flashlight flickers. The reflection smiles faintly. Dr. Kareem, terrified whisper. What are you? Akhemun-Ra. I am what memory becomes when it is denied death. A low, mournful horn echoes through the valley above. The workers flee. The sandstorm rises. The tomb's awakening spread like light through shadow, silent, invisible, unstoppable. Every machine, every wire, every metal echo carried the curse outward. And far away, in cities that had forgotten the language of the Nile, dreams began to change. Men woke in the night speaking in tongues not heard since the first sunrise. The memory of Akhemun-Ra had returned to the world. When morning came, the sky burned red. And there, suspended in the east, was a second sun, black and gold, its surface swirling with living flame. The hidden sun had risen once more. Not to bring warmth, but remembrance. Akhemun-Ra, faintly, everywhere at once. You have freed me and bound yourselves. The valley of silence no longer slept. Its voice rose again, spreading through the desert, through the Nile, through every stone that bore the memory of Egypt's glory. And as the world trembled, one truth became clear, that no name, once spoken in defiance of death, ever truly dies. In the heart of every echo, the sunless king still waits. So the curse was renewed, and time itself remembered. The black sun hung above the Nile for 7 days. And the world dreamed of Egypt again. In those dreams, cities of glass melted into dunes, and rivers of gold ran through streets that never were. Across the earth, the name of the forgotten Pharaoh returned to tongues that did not know him. And those who spoke it felt something awaken within their blood, a pulse not their own. Among the countless dreamers, one heard the echo most clearly. Her name was Layla Kareem, daughter of the man who had opened the tomb, and the last of a line that stretched back to a forgotten scribe named Tariq. She did not know the weight her blood carried, but the gods did. Through her heartbeat, the desert itself remembered the promise once made, that when darkness returned, a voice born of man would restore the balance. Every stone ever carved with the mark of the sunless king began to awaken. The world trembled, not in anger, but in recognition. The shadow of Akhemun-Ra had not risen to rule again, but to claim what remained of himself. He sought not dominion but release. And in that golden spark, the ancient gods stirred, not as figures of stone or flesh, but as harmonies moving through time itself. From beyond the veil of time, the old gods rose, not to punish, but to remember their charge, to keep balance between the seen and the unseen. But the balance had been broken by a man who sought eternity, and by a world that had forgotten the sacred act of remembering with reverence. Thunder. The black sun splits, one half shadow, one half light. And so the heavens themselves prepared to choose. Layla is asleep in her apartment. The walls ripple like sand. She stands suddenly in a vast desert under the twin suns, one black, one gold. In the stillness between heartbeats, she dreamed of Egypt. Not the Egypt of books or ruins, but the one that still lived beneath the skin of time. There, she met the one who had waited. Akhemun-Ra stands before her, glowing faintly gold, his eyes weary but kind. Akhemun-Ra, in softly voice. You carry the voice of the scribe. Through you, I may finally rest. Layla, fearful, whispering. I'm no priestess. I'm no one. Akhemun-Ra. No one is all I ever became. And yet, you remember me. That is enough. The pharaoh bowed his head, not as a king, but as a soul seeking forgiveness. But the shadow of eternity does not fade quietly. From the rift between suns, the remnants of Akhemun-Ra's own creation spirits of pride, fear, and boundless desire rose in defiance. Spectral figures form from the sand, swirling like smoke. Spirit, whispering, you cannot unmake what was born to last forever. Akhemun-Ra whispers, then let eternity end. He spreads his hands, the black and gold suns begin to collide. The sky burned, the sands lifted in pillars of fire. The gods watched silent, waiting for humanity to decide what deserved to remain. Layla stands between the colliding suns, her pendant blazing. It was not the gods who restored the balance. It was the heart that remembered love more than power. Layla, shouting through the storm, "You are remembered, Akhemun-Ra," not as a king, but as a man who learned sorrow. Her words became light, a bridge between shadow and flame. And through that light, the pharaoh smiled one final time. Akhemun-Ra whispers, "Then the curse is broken. Let the sun remember mercy." He dissolves into golden dust. The black sun shatters, revealing the true dawn beneath. Sunrise over the restored Nile. Birds return. The wind hums with faint melody. When morning came, the black sun was gone. The sky blazed blue as it had in the first days. And upon the river, the golden dust of a vanished king shimmered like pollen. Layla awoke beside the ruins of the valley, the pendant cool and silent against her skin. The echo had ended, but balance fragile, sacred, eternal had been restored. And so the circle closed. The sun that was hidden shone again. The king who sought eternity found peace in oblivion. And the world learned, for a moment, to remember without worship, to seek knowledge without pride, to love what was lost without claiming to own it. The tomb sleeps once more, and time itself breathes in silence. 1,000 years have passed since the sun forgot to hide. The sands have shifted, and the river has changed its name. Empires have risen, believing themselves new, yet all walk on the bones of Egypt. The tomb of Akhemun-Ra lies buried again beneath a sea of dunes, its entrance sealed by wind and time. No stone remembers his face. No priest speaks his name. And yet he is not gone. For every century, memory returns. Always different, yet always the same. A museum at night. Glass display cases shimmer under dim light. A child presses her palm against an old amulet, the same circle within a circle design. In the quiet halls of a museum, a child lingers before a relic no one understands. The pendant warm beneath cold glass. A whisper waiting to be heard again. The child whispers softly, "Who are you?" The question travels farther than sound. It passes through stone, through sand, through silence. And the gods, ever watchful, stir once more. A faceless narrator sits before an unseen audience. The shadows on the walls form the shapes of ancient symbols. Every tale that refuses to die seeks a storyteller. Every truth too vast for language becomes a story. And so it is told again, in whispers, in dreams, in firelight, the tale of the pharaoh who erased his own name, and of the scribe whose words undid the curse. They are gone. Yet their story remains. For memory is the one thing even gods cannot destroy. Montage the desert at night, the stars shifting into new constellations, the sun rising again and again. Time is not a line. It is a circle that feeds itself. Every end becomes another beginning. Every silence hides another song. When the sun rises, it seems new, yet it is the same flame that watched over the first kingdom, and the same that will one day burn when all names are dust. The story of Akhemun-Ra is not about Egypt alone. It is the memory of all who have sought eternity, and found, in the end, the peace of being forgotten. The museum lights flicker. The pendant glows faintly. The child looks up at the night sky, the same stars as over ancient Thebes. The balance holds. The gods sleep, but their dreams ripple through our lives. Every act of remembrance, every whisper of gratitude, is another thread that keeps the worlds entwined. Soft whisper, a faint voice of Layla echoes like wind. Layla, indistant. Remember him kindly, that is all he ever wanted. And in that remembering, the curse is broken forever. The pendant fades into sand. The sand becomes the stars. The stars form an eye, the eye of Ra, watching, calm, eternal. The desert sleeps. The sun rises. The story ends and begins again. For stories are the true gods of the world. They die, only to be reborn in another tongue, another voice, another age. And when the next dreamer awakens, when another voice calls out from the silence, the sands will stir once more. The names will return, and the timeless story will be told again.